Oh, come on, Denver Broncos. Let's do this thing, huh? That's right. It is time for PostGame Live. Cecil Lammey talking about the Denver Broncos and what was an exciting preseason game, a exciting finish here in this late night, post-game show. Probably going to take you about to midnight Mountain Time. Talking about this game. See if anyone jumps in with me here as well. But yeah, kind of a exciting finish. Not what I was expecting from a preseason game where usually guys start checking out or the fourth and fifth string guys get in. It's not very good. But as you can see, the Broncos have some playmakers that aren't just the starters or even the backups. They've got some third string guys that come through in a big, big way. So got plenty to get to on tonight's program. Chat room's going to be fired up. I'm going to be talking about this team top to bottom, because I have to get to the Jaleel McLaughlin love. That's coming up a little bit later. But, of course, we got to start with the starters. The Denver Broncos lose to the Arizona Cardinals, and it's 18-17 is the final score. No ties, no overtime when it comes to preseason football. I'm glad Arizona did that. I'm glad they went for two. Sad that they made it, because you want the Broncos to get that win, right? You want it to feel good, but there's plenty to feel good with this Broncos team from tonight's game. And that's something I think we all should be taking note of. It wasn't perfect. There's certainly some big concerns. Offensive line, Garrett Bowles, big concerns there for this Broncos team. But overall, you come away, football's back. The Broncos are back. Sean Payton's out there, and he seemed kind of pissed off at times. So you like seeing that. Coach is a little cantankerous from time to time. And I, for one, don't mind that at all, because I know it's preseason. The games don't count, but they do matter, and the performances matter. It's almost as if they wasted too much time on the Jarrett Stidham group. Had they put in the Benvenucci group, and had they put in more Taylor Grimes, more Michael Bandy, both those guys are going to make the practice squad, more Jaleel McLaughlin. Like, there was an opportunity here for this team to do a little something more than what they did. So we'll see what happens there. A special guest on tonight's program, Postgame Live. It's one Darren McKee. It's D-Mac. Hi, buddy. How's it going, man?
Diesel, what's happening, buddy?
It was a little disappointing they didn't win, right? That was kind of an exciting finish, but I wanted the W. I wanted the W.
Yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't matter, I guess, but like, you did enough to get the win, so why not win it? I mean, who you playing against? Blau and the whatever. So yeah, a little bit of a bummer, man. And they go with the handoff on the 2-point conversion. Like, might want to stuff that. So
yeah,
the bigger point is really the reason you didn't win is because you now have a kicking issue. You got a kicking issue.
Bad one.
And that's why you did not win that game. So this is kind of a nightmare scenario that you knew better. I guess it made us scratch our heads from the beginning about McManus, and now you got an issue.
Yeah, you didn't need to get rid of Brandon McManus. I don't care what they say about the money. Like, who'd they spend it on? Nobody. Like,
Nobody.
You didn't need to do that at all.
So now what? On a very annoying issue that really feels like, what a waste of time.
That you created yourself. That's the most annoying thing.
Totally. But don't tell me it's not an issue. It's going to be the number one topic of concern. And this is a nightmare scenario. Like, tonight is basically an absolute nightmare when you played better than the other team, when you really had a win in your back pocket, And because of stupid kicking issues, you lost.
Yeah, you lost, and you lost in the last second 2-point conversion. Let's start at the beginning, though, because I've got a ton to get to on all the backup guys. But the starters out there, your thoughts and impressions of Russell Wilson. I've already teased it. This offensive line, Garrett Bowles is not good. He is not
Yeah,
looking good at all. It's pretty rough out there.
It's a problem. I mean, 3 and out to start. That was a punishment drive that Sean Payton gave. They had 14 plays. They had 14 plays. He said 15 to 18. It was the entire first quarter. I don't know who they were playing against. You would know better than me than who they were actually playing against.
Right.
But that was a punishment drive. And I'm glad they got a touchdown, but they had to convert on a 4th down play against a terrible defensive call by the Cardinals. I don't know what they were thinking.
Right.
But good for Russ, good for Judy to get the touchdown. That was cool. But let's call it what it was, Cease. That was, you guys sucked. Get back out there and do it.
Yeah, get back out there and start distributing the ball. And it seemed like that Troutman play, because Troutman had the drop to start things. It was behind him. But then he had a big block on a Samaje Perine run. Then he had that tight end screen. Like that Troutman play kind of jump started. Cortland Sutton, catching it, going down, then springing back up. We wouldn't have seen that last year or 2 years ago from Cortland Sutton. We saw it tonight. So, some positives here within that punishment drive.
Russ was fine. It wasn't special. It was fine. I'm going to give him at least, 1 drop for sure, maybe 2. So if you gave him 2 drops, that's 9 of 13 for what would have been, I don't know, 100 yards or so and a touchdown, I guess. I mean, he did take a licking. I mean, that's a problem that he's going to have is holding on to the ball. I mean, you got to, come on, Russ. Let's go. Get rid of it. Come on. Let's go.
Yeah. I think Sean Payton will scheme that as best he can, but Russell Wilson taking that punishment, that's going to be a problem as it continues through the regular season. That's why I think Jarrett Stidham's going to play a couple of games. We got to get ready for that.
You're gonna have an interesting decision on the Stidham-Danucci thing. But okay,
Danucci's better, but Stidham got the money. So
I know.
Every single position, there's a competition and it's meritocracy, except for that position.
Everything we saw in camp more or less happened tonight.
Yes.
Danucci was better than Stidham. He was better than Stidham tonight. McLaughlin, what are you waiting for? They didn't even spell his name right on his jersey.
I know.
I mean, he's been arguably the best running back all training camp. And so I'm not sure what that's even about. Alberto, I mean, you might as well just cut him. I guess you don't care. The end of Alberto. So, but more or less everything we saw during camp, we saw tonight.
Yeah, we saw Elijah Garcia make plays like he's made plays in camp. We saw Nick Benito being a pain in the ass like we saw in camp. He got a little bit banged up. Jewel poked in the eye. Someone went Captain Insano on him. Is that right?
I don't know about Jewel. I know DJ Jones got a concussion.
DJ Jones with a concussion, right.
And Benito
with a little hip. Yeah, a little hip thing. So hopefully that field still didn't look good. The field looked like a problem, but
it did. But I didn't see a lot of slipping, so I don't think it was that big of a deal. Listen, the Broncos got some work to do, Cease.
Yeah, they do.
That's a bad Arizona team that they just lost to.
Yeah, that honestly, and I know it's preseason, doesn't count, but they should have clown hammered this team.
Yeah.
Because defensively, they don't have anything either. They don't have anything offensively. They don't have anything defensively. They'll be the worst team in the league.
To get the interception by Bassie, which was awesome, nice play, and then to get no points out of it. And so it's a missed field goal, which is bad, but come on, C-SPAN, you're at, what were they at, the 30-yard line or so?
Right.
Get the ball in, let's go. You know, that should have been where you drop the hammer right there with the ones. That's a concerning drive right there, as well as the missed kick. And, they had the punishment drive that they scored a touchdown on, where they went for it on 4th down. So I think it's a dose of reality for Sean Payton with – we go back to George Payton, the lack of depth, the bad drafts, the just everything. It's true, Cease. It's true. It hasn't been great with George Payton. And you saw a lot of evidence of it tonight.
Yeah, you saw that lack of depth. And then I said it before you jumped on, D. It's almost like they spent too much time on the Jarrett Stidham group, because once they got to DiNucci and they got to Taylor Grimes and they got to Michael Bandy and they got to Jaleel McLaughlin, that's when they were moving. That's when the excitement came through after the starters were out.
Kind of predictable. And I'll tell you this too. I know people might say, well, that was against the scrubs of the Cardinals. That group of the Broncos would have done that. I'm not saying to the Cardinal starters necessarily, but the same opportunity to where Stidham was, if you put that Broncos group, they would have had that kind of success. Okay? That's just what's been happening all camp. Stidham showed, a little athletic ability, running around a little bit, but, he struggled, deflected passes. Russ had a deflected pass, I'm not sure. I thought Russ was okay. I just thought it was okay, Cease. I thought it was basically what we've seen in camp out of Russ too.
Right. And the batted passes, which we see every day, sometimes more than one a day in training camp, that's way more of a concern to me than the INTs. But here's the thing, I think the realization we're all coming to, D, is that this is just who Russ is. Doesn't mean Russ sucks or Russ is terrible or whatever. Right. It just means this is just kind of who he is. This is what you're going to have to deal with. And that's why they're going to run the hell out of the ball.
Yeah, well, good, because right now this offensive line isn't that great at pass blocking. And we'll have to spend more. I'm sure you and I will both spend time looking at the film and going through things and really sort of parsing it out. I'm just disappointed they couldn't finish that interception drive.
Right.
And the kicking has, man, I cannot believe this kicking thing is going to be this big of an issue. But boy, was that predictable. You just created a problem where a problem didn't exist. So I'm having a hard time just getting over that, because if you just make your kicks, Cease, very makeable kicks, okay? You make your kicks, this game is basically a blowout.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's even with you being 1 for 7 on third downs in the first half, which was most of your starters. Stidham got a little bit of that, but you're 1 or 7 on third downs. And then what, 1 of 4 on field goals? Is that correct? Top of my head.
1 of 4. Yeah. I mean, It was Fry that made the 50. Hey, that was a good one, a 55-yarder.
Yeah.
Way to go. I think Maher is, he's all practice team, dude. Man, forget it. This, how in the world can you go with this guy after what he did with Dallas? And just enough. I'd rather stick with Fry at this point. I can't trust Maher, but it is deceiving, because folks should know in training camp and in practice, Maher's making them left and right and has a stronger leg. But it doesn't really matter if you have a stronger leg. It matters how poised you are, how accurate you are. And I don't believe in Fry either. Cease. Fry's been with 10 million teams?
Right.
I don't trust Fry. This is actually officially a bad situation. Can you believe this is what we're talking about?
Yeah, I know. We're opening up preseason talking about the kicker problem with more special teams problems. Like, that's what everyone, Katwika and Westhoff, were supposed to solve. And then you started it by getting rid of a kicker. And I know the chat room's like split 50-50 on McManus. He's better than these guys. We all could admit that. He's better than the options that they have now. So they'll probably have kicker tryouts this week.
I would assume so. And
what's Mason Crosby doing, right? Where's he at?
I think he's sitting on a couch just looking grayer and grayer. I mean, he went gray early.
He did.
He's just sitting around.
He's probably in Boulder somewhere.
I don't know where did he come back to Boulder? I don't know.
Maybe. I saw Dave Platty post something about him on Facebook, so I was like, all right, Dave, get him here. Get him here. They need something. You need some sort of answer, because what I said on Thursday on Denver Sports Tonight, which I know you listen to bicycling home, you're going to win ugly. This team's going to be ugly this year. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be, they showed that graphic. Sean Payton scored most points of any head coach. It's like 27.6 points per game average for Sean Payton. He's number 1 in league history. Yeah, you're going to score like 23 points a game. He ain't getting to 27 this year. So they're going to have to win ugly, which means kicking's got to be on point.
Well, that's it. Here we are talking about stupid kicking. It's
hate it.
All right. I mean, that's probably enough about kicking. What are some of your other bigger takeaways?
Other bigger takeaways is that Troutman's a clear number 1. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no question. Like he's their best tight end. He's not their fastest tight end. He's not their best blocking tight end, but he's their best tight end overall. And I also have put it out like, why not all the dreams that we have about Greg Dulcich? Why can't that be Troutman? He came from a non-scholarship FCS school in Dayton where he had 14 touchdowns his final season, and it takes time for tight ends. This is year 4. Why not expect? I'm not saying 1,000 yards, but I when the depth chart came out and people were losing their mind in the faux outrage about Dulcich, it's like you haven't watched practice because Dulcich hasn't been better than Troutman, and it clearly showed in the game what he can do.
Well, Troutman's a more, all around tight end. Dulcich has the bigger play ability, but what kind of offense are they really going to be running here, Cease? It probably suits a more all-around guy, and okay, fine. I mean, I'd like to try to utilize somebody who's got the speed and talents of Dulcich. So they'll figure that out one way or the other. I'm not that worried about that. I'm glad they have Troutman. I mean, okay, cool. Like I said, Alberto, that is like, dude, seriously. I don't know when you can cut him, that it makes more sense one way or the other, but geez, man, for them not to even try to use him, Cease.
It's almost like you could do it early as a favor to him.
Yeah, man.
First cuts don't happen until after the preseason's over, but if you just did it now, he'd kind of get a jump start on all the other guys that are going to get cut. Maybe he can go somewhere and impress.
I mean, how many reps, how many plays, snaps did he even get, if any? I don't even remember. Was he?
He was in there at the end. He was, trying to block.
Okay, well, whatever. Taylor Grimes is gonna. We'll see with him, and you didn't see much of Mims. I mean, I leave this game kind of feeling unsatisfied, and this is why those joint practices are so much better than the preseason games anyway, to really see what's what. And we won't get one of those until we get the Rams in, 13 days or whatever it is at this point.
Yeah. So hopefully the joint practices tell us a little bit more. If we look at this team overall, it's like, okay, offensive line of concern, you better run the ball. No Javonte, and Mims didn't even play, right? Did he see the field? I know.
I didn't
was it Steve? Steve kept talking about him because they kept talking about Jaleel until he got on the field, and they were like, "Where's Marvin Mims?" And it was Montrell getting all the return work. And Mims has got those 2 hamstring injuries from the offseason, so he might just have gotten some rest, or one of those guys like Javonte where he's going to practice, you don't need to play him right now.
Well, that is a little odd though, because Mims was practicing on Wednesday though, so
and he's been looking better over the last week or so.
I mean, I don't know about that one. I mean, I don't know. Maybe something did happen. Who knows? I'm not sure. It's a clandestine operation in terms of information sometimes with the Broncos. Do you feel angry or upset at all, or is it more just a shoulder shrug, like, this is more or less what we were expecting?
I think it's a what we were expecting type of thing. I am upset they didn't actually just win, because you want to win even though it doesn't count. So for me, like you said, everything that's happened in practice we saw it. We just saw it against a different team. We saw it against a worse team, and it's like, well, wait a second, the Broncos defense is pretty good and their struggles for the offense, whatever. The Cardinals defense is not good at all, and you couldn't move the ball better until you were punished, like Sean Payton wagging his finger at you.
I'll tell you this, man. You gave the Cardinals organization a fun night. You gave them something positive out of nowhere to be slightly enthusiastic about. So I don't know, man. I'm a little ticked off they didn't win the game too, Cease. I'm a little. Hey, Garcia had what a great series he had. Go get that sack on Blau. Get the turnover. I mean, I get it. It's a bunch of guys who aren't even going to make the team. But listen, I loved how engaged the team was. They all had their pads on. Maybe a hat, not a helmet. Okay, fine. No Gilligan hats. Everybody was engaged. It's just, it was fine not interviewing anybody with Ariel on the sideline, even though, Ariel's awesome. And, she had to talk to Sean Payton somehow at some point. But I thought the TV broadcast was pretty good. I thought Ryan Harris and Steve Levy were really good. So I like the presentation of the game on TV. I'll give 9 News credit for that. That was pretty smooth.
Well, and most of the time, those preseason games, when it gets to the fourth quarter, those guys don't know anything about that. But Steve and Ryan being there, especially Ryan, like they were dialed in when Jaleel McLaughlin came in. They knew what to say.
Yeah, you know what I love about
that.
them, and I'll give Ryan credit because he doesn't have as much experience as Steve, but he has quite a bit of experience, is less is more. And they didn't go over the top with what they were doing. And that's really a great way to do a broadcast. Just let it play out. Less is more. You don't have to overhype a bunch of guys who aren't going to make the team anyway. You can point out what's interesting, what's not. I actually thought the broadcast was really good.
Yeah, so don't tell a bunch of dumb stories like you see in other preseason broadcasts where they just go way off the wall in the fourth quarter because they don't know who the guys are. So, again, I appreciate that. But I appreciate these young players coming through and, there's no quarterback controversy, but there's a backup issue because DiNucci is better than Stidham.
You got one guy better than the other guy. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
He's just better than him. So I don't know. What do you do with that?
Yeah, you probably keep DiNucci somehow if you can. It's a quarterback desperate league. I suppose you keep 3, but now we're talking roster crunch because you're keeping a fullback. You're keeping Burton. You might keep Nate Atkins as a 4th tight end.
Oh, no, come on. Seriously?
You might. I mean, and then how many receivers are you keeping? Is Mims your returner? Are you going to keep Montrell? Like, you've got a roster crunch, and the 3rd quarterback, you don't need this. You didn't need this. You needed a camp arm. You didn't need a backup quarterback controversy from the guy you paid.
Well, I'm not sure what's going on with Mims. Hopefully he's okay. But if Montrell, I don't know. I'm so sick of just keeping guys just to be specialists like that. If there's no use for you as a wide receiver, I don't quite get it. You can do all sorts of different things there. You didn't see him featured a ton, but Michael Burton is going to be a slam dunk to make the team as a fullback. They have, and by the way, I'm glad they really didn't showcase him. They can keep him a hidden secret, okay? There's a lot of things you can do with him that you do not need to show the rest of the NFL in preseason sees. So keep Michael Burton a secret as far as I'm concerned. That's cool.
That's fine.
He's making the team for sure. I don't know how McLaughlin doesn't make the team. I don't know what you have to do to make a team if McLaughlin doesn't make a team.
Well, and look at where he was running. He was running in between the tackles for the most part, other than the screen pass to the outside, and he's getting so skinny. We've put it this way, like Tyler Beatty needs a hole. Jaleel McLaughlin needs a crease. He was just getting so skinny and continuing. It's Philip Lindsay with hands, everybody. And look at, we already got the chat room talking about Locke. Did you watch Locke last night?
Yes, I did.
Your Locke looked pretty good.
Well, he was terrible for like 3 series, and then it just clicked.
And it clicked.
And then it clicked, and he looked good, and he had 2 touchdowns and a pick, and he threw for like $190 or something. He played most of the game. I don't know. Yeah, he was. It's amazing what happens, Cecil, when you're a little patient and you give guys time and, you let them develop a little bit and you just don't, chop their heads off right off the bat. Hey, man, Jordan Love looked pretty good for parts of the game tonight. I don't know. These are talented people, Cecil. There's a lot of good, younger, 6'2" and up quarterbacks out there.
Yeah.
So Russ can't just be good, okay? For what he's making and what his value is, he has to be great, not good. Tonight he was good, okay? Tonight he was fine. There's no big deal with Russ tonight. But if he holds on to the ball too long, if he doesn't get rid of it, he is going to get destroyed this year.
And then you're going to go to your backup. And I've said this. Here's the problem with Garrett Bowles. If you have to look for a left tackle and a quarterback next year, you're screwed. You can do one of those things. If you have to look for a quarterback and you have to move heaven and earth or whatever, like you can do that. It's again, we're in the same damn boat. But if you have to look for a left tackle and a quarterback, you're absolutely screwed.
Well, tell me, how bad was Bowles? I wasn't paying as close attention to it.
Bowles
why?
He wasn't holding, he was letting guys get by him. who's the guy that got by him for the sack? And if I struggle to remember his name, like that's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So I'll pull it up. It wasn't Cam Thomas. Who was it that had the sack that got past Bulls? Anyway, yeah. So Dennis Gardeck. That's who it was. So there you go. From Sioux Falls. Guy's been around for 6 years. Got great hair. But a Sioux Falls guy just got past your first round left tackle. You know, like Garrett Bowles was bad tonight, just flat out bad. And that cannot continue. I don't know if it's that ankle. It was a fractured ankle. That's a major injury. He's a left tackle and he's old. But you already knew this when you drafted him because you knew he was old when you drafted him.
Yeah. People might not realize Garrett Bowles is in his 30s.
Yes. So now you got a 30s plus year old tackle who's not playing well, who is coming off a major injury. We got to give him time because they don't have any other choice. Although I do like Cam Fleming better as a left than I do as a right.
How is Isaiah Prince? Did you notice anything about Isaiah Prince?
He's not good in practice. Tonight, I guess he was okay. But that's the problem with this team is that they've been below average. And then this year, it looks like they might be average. Maybe they might be average at best. And that's frustrating and disappointing based on the 7 years of misery that this fan base has had to go through.
I just remembered the other drop. I knew there were two drops. There was the drop on the first pass of the game. That was
behind him. Yeah, behind
him. Judy dropped it on
the one before the touchdown.
We have seen that a bunch of times in camp. Judy had the most ridiculous drop ever in camp when a defender fell down and Judy was literally standing in the end zone by himself. And the ball hit off his chest and hit the ground. But just like in practice, like the next play in practice that Judy had a rep, he made a really nice catch. So we've seen that a lot from Judy, actually, where he'll drop a pass in practice, and then sure enough, there he is making a nice play and a good catch. That's going to kill us, though. If in reality, if it's like, okay, I got to get through a bad drop to get to a great catch, that's really going to drive you nuts. Yeah, so it is interesting, Cease, what we see in practice replicate itself in a game, good and bad. So we've seen Judy drop passes and come back and make nice catches. Well, that's exactly.
That's what that one was like when he was wide open in the end zone. Like, nope, not gonna get it.
All right, that was funny.
Yeah. What would you think about Dalton Reisner playing right tackle?
Holy cow!
He needs a job.
Oh my God!
He was a right tackle in college.
Come on, Cease. Come on.
Well, Isaiah Prince is not good.
Come on.
Cam Fleming is better on the left side than he is on the right.
I want Dalton to get a job too, but we know that ship has sailed.
Yeah, well, we'll have to save that for another show. But either way, this offensive line, and that's where the frustration lies, is that you can't get above barely average if your offensive line is bad.
Well, we don't even know what's going to happen with McGlinchey. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. He's got a sprained knee that miraculously, I guess, is going to be better by the regular season. I mean, that is a month away, so I hope that happens, but he's going to lose out on reps. He's going to lose out on rhythm and timing. And, I think I'm glad they played, Cease. I think it was the right decision for these guys to play in the game.
Yes.
And I thought the overall coaching operation of the team was pretty good. And that was a big thing that I wanted to see. I mean, can they get on the field?
How you calling the plays?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed all right. I like the rhythm of the play calling seemed fine to me. The balance of stuff was all right. It seemed okay. I thought it was a little pass heavy, but, I guess I got to see what they're going to do with stuff. And you did not have Javonte Williams, okay? You didn't have him, and that theoretically is going to make a difference.
Melissa asked about the Stidham look. I didn't see this. I didn't see Sean Payton being salty at the press conference because I started the show.
Oh.
But Stidham gave Russ a look at the end of the broadcast that was spicy.
Really?
I guess I have to go back and watch for that.
I will go back and look. I've got that doodad saved, so I will. I'm all for the spicy action.
Yeah, we'll see.
And I'd be very curious what Sean Payton had to say after the game. I hope he wasn't that happy. I hope he doesn't try to blow sunshine. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to make things up or be overly mad. But I mean, listen, man. I mean, he can't be satisfied with that.
Right. You can't be satisfied with this performance. Peter uses a potty word to describe us, like, I'm a Broncos fan, but you guys are annoying and shut your mouthy.
About what?
Okay.
What are we misrepresenting right here?
I have no idea. I guess we have to say everything can be fixed in 3 weeks. We've been at training camp every day. Peter, definitely come out to training camp. And if you see us, talk to us, because you'll see the same stuff at training camp.
Did we not say Danucci's been pretty good and he played pretty good? Did we not say McLaughlin has been really good and he looked really good? Did we not say Jerry Jeudy will drop a ball and then make a great catch?
Right.
Did we not say Russell Wilson had 2 drops? He probably was 9 of 13. Did we not point out that they put the starters in, Cecil, in the first preseason game in the second quarter? Like, that never happens.
Never, ever. But they did it because they had to, and that's a good thing. I would say 2 things. My 2 rules in life: don't be dumb, don't be part of a cult. And part of sports coverage now is, like, you have to be, like, super, super positive. Everything is awesome, or else you're a hater. I'm not a hater. I'm just going to tell you what we saw. And we're going to put in the work, and we're going to be at training camp. So whatever, man.
And don't forget, we spent the first, if we wanted to really kill you, we could spend this entire postgame show talking about the kicking game,
right?
Which would make us all want to jump in front of a truck, because the biggest issue tonight, this is whacked. The biggest issue is the kicking game right now.
Yeah.
The biggest issue is the kicking game. I can't believe I'm even saying that.
A problem that you cause when the offensive line is a problem. At least you spent money on Ben Powers, who was fine. And then you spent money on McGlinchey, who didn't play and hasn't looked good in camp. Like, that was the thing. It's like, you made the kicker problem. Tackle, you tried to fix. Offensive line, you've tried to fix. I give you credit for that. It hasn't worked, but I give you credit. Kicker, you made that problem.
Yeah, the score's probably 30. Should be, hey, man, all right, the defense shut the Cardinals out in the first half. Good job. That's cool. And Prater missed a kick, too, in order for that to happen. And then, Prater, who's 17 years for Prater.
I know.
That is wild. I can't believe Matt's been Matty PCs.
I still love it, man. I still love him. I love him living at the hotel across from shotguns. I still love Matty P. Love all the stories. By the way, Melissa said she tweeted the video to you.
Oh, well.
So you can see the video of the spicy look.
I will look at it post-haste when we're done here.
By the way, the only problem I had with the broadcast, the only problem, although I don't think Delary and Turner had a good game, and Ryan kept saying how he's having a good game. Either way, I'll talk to Ryan if I see him. Caden Davis scored that touchdown, and they didn't mention that he was a former Bronco, because Caden Davis would be the first guy out there every day.
That's right.
That's just me being nitpicky.
That's being a little nitpicky, but you are correct.
Yeah.
You are correct about that.
Yeah, Mile High says that it's preseason. I still hate losing it. I guess that's where my frustration comes from. Is like, you had one play, it was a run, you could have stopped it, and you didn't. So
yeah, I mean, they're scoring a touchdown, with 2 seconds left on the clock. You got to get one more stop. I mean, listen, man, it's a little unsatisfying. It's not the end of the world. It's not crazy. It's just like, oh my gosh. It's just like, let's keep some, unless, hey, okay, let me stay positive here. That's the little reminder. That's the little kick in the butt. That's a little, don't start smelling yourself, Broncos. It ain't all there yet. And maybe you can use that for inspiration moving forward, okay? You're going to play San Fran next weekend, and, they're good. And we all know, Cecil, what happened in the second preseason game last year against the Bills. One of the most humiliating, football moments, when you just get your butt kicked. I mean, kicked in a preseason game, similar to what happened with them against Seattle all those years ago. And Elway, got all mad about stuff. Like, right. I mean, you just can't have that happen. You can't. So I'll tell you this. It's really not that big of a deal as I'm rolling my eyes, winning or lose. It isn't that big of a deal to win or lose, but it is kind of a big deal, like how you lost this game. Like, just, come on, man. Like, let's have a little bit of a moment here, you know? I guess I am a little frustrated that they lost this stupid game.
Yeah, and especially at the end when you had the McLaughlin touchdown. Now I'll have to go back and watch it. Do you think they let him score on purpose?
No,
I love
no,
McLaughlin.
I mean,
I'll be the last guy to comment on this correctly. But when I watched the replay of the play and he was not touched directly up the middle, and there was one guy who went to he went to the B gap basically, and it was A gap. And so I'm like, did he do that on purpose or is he just not really good at football?
Well, Ryan Harris pointed out in the broadcast, like, this is like a teachable, awesome block. This is what they're going to go through and say, here's how you do this moment. It really wouldn't serve much purpose. Well, to let them score, do they want their offense to get another rep? I don't know. That feels weird. There was
in preseason, it feels weird. It does.
There was a lot of time left on the clock. I'm not going to go with that. I mean, they were going to get the ball back one way or the other. You know, I mean, they had timeouts they could have used. There's other things they could have done.
Yeah. And Hefe chimes in. What's the take on R-Dub? Average. He's okay.
Well, I'll give him credit for 2 catches that were drops.
I'll give him credit for getting smacked around on that touchdown.
Yeah.
He was going to take a lick. He knew it. He kind of moved. He kind of threw and jumped and moved and got out of the way a little bit. But yeah, he was beat up tonight.
The Cardinals are quirky, dude. Like, they called a timeout that helped the Broncos kick the field goal. Like, what was that all about? What are they doing? They go to 0 coverage on 4. I don't know. What are you doing? You're going to it's an all-out blitz on 4th and 4. There's no help whatsoever. So I don't know. The Cardinals be cardinaling, and it helped the Broncos. So it's another weird, like, okay, we'll take it, I guess. But, I don't know. Now that I think about it, the Cardinals shouldn't even call that timeout. They should have just let the Broncos try to kick a field goal. I bet he misses it.
Yeah, rush him out there.
Yeah, man. Cecil, it could have been worse. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the odds of hitting that kick in a rush sort of fashion, which was about to happen, would have been pretty lousy, actually, to make that kick. Yeah. Thank you, Cardinals.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Arizona. But, well, we got to see some football. Can they be a well-coached bad team or a well-coached team that doesn't have enough depth? They don't have enough to bring the waves of players that you need. And this goes back to George Paton, who will be the fall guy next year. Whether Russ stays or Garrett Bowles stays or whatever happens in 2024, it's already trending that they're going to look for a new GM. Because Paton doesn't have enough guys. He doesn't have enough of his guys. He's got some.
Well, I mean, if the season goes south, Paton, I mean, there'll be a lot of fingers pointing all over the place. So, yeah, I mean, George Paton could be an endangered species after that if things don't go well. The depth is a concern because injuries will inevitably happen. They happen every year. DJ Jones, I don't know, concussion. I don't know when we'll see him again.
I hope he's okay.
I do too. Hip injury for Benito. I don't know. Hope he's okay. I mean, stuff does happen in these games when you play dudes. And I'm not against playing guys. We just have to be okay with, stuff happens. I'll say this, though. There's not a lot of reasons to play the starters on defense that you believe in for the regular season. I mean, do we really need to see Justin Simmons at all the entire preseason? Really? Do we need to see Surtain, Zach Allen, Randy Gregory, Frank Clark? Really? Is that necessary?
Not at all. And especially because there are certain players like a Zach Allen, you cannot lose him. You cannot lose that player.
I can't even imagine.
Lose Surtain. Simmons, you do have some safety depth, but nobody's as good as Simmons because he's the best safety in the league. But like, there's certain players you cannot lose, and most of them are on defense because the defense has a chance to be good and lead the way. That in the ground game, that's what they're going to have to do. Russ is going to be kind of average. Thank goodness Cord is back. We saw that. So that matches practice. So, if you've been at practice even just a couple of days, you saw a lot of the same stuff tonight.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, that's about, I don't know what anybody else wants to say or throw stuff in, but like being accused of being negative here tonight is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you just don't want to honestly talk about the game, I guess. If that's the way you want to go. And by far the wildest moment that, listen, man, when they got rid of McManus, Cease, I thought for sure, oh, here comes Dalvin Cook. Here comes something else that you need a bunch of money for. Like, I mean, because why? You're just annoyed by Brandon McManus? Like, that's
Where's
it?
Michael Brockers or something like that? You know what I mean? There's like, okay, there's some veteran coming that's going to cost a little bit more. Like, who is it? And
but is the real reason you got rid of Brandon McManus is that you just thought he was annoying? I mean, huh? Okay, that's weird. So hopefully
it seemed like a message was sent in for a reason that they didn't need to send. Like, it's got to be the Peyton Wayne. We can't have anyone, doing a podcast or whatever. Like, I'm just guessing on that. D, you've probably heard more stuff behind the scenes than I.
No, I mean, I don't.
It's pretty tight over there. It ain't the Elway days, baby. Remember when you and I would know everything about the team because they just kept blah 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 blah. And it's like those
Brandon
are awesome.
was a very confident guy. He was a union rep. He did goofy stuff like dress up like a referee during training camp, but he was also one of the most consistent kickers in the NFL for the past decade. And I get it. His numbers weren't as good last year as in previous years. But go back and look at the margin, Cease, between the best kicker and the worst kicker in the league. I mean, it's really by fractions of points. It's small. And then look at the consistency between, say, 40 and 55 yards. And Brandon McManus, all in all, was really good. So here we are. Here we are with two kickers that, who knows? And Maher, man, are we just going to ignore what happened with Dallas? Or are we just going to sit around waiting for the inevitable meltdown to actually happen? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't want to wait around for that. I've got a chat room question before we get out of here about Michael Bandy. Michael Bandy played with the Chargers from San Diego, the Toreros, and he played with the Chargers, played under Joe Lombardi. So he knows what to do, knows where to be.
He has the world's worst number for a short receiver.
Was it you that said he's like a long snapper? Like, that's a long snapper number?
I don't know how he got the number because he's a small dude, like 13. I get it. 9. Even something in the 80s, I guess. But you're a short guy. I mean, what are you doing with? Was it 45 or 46?
46. Give him Albert Okwuegbunam's number.
It'll probably be available pretty soon.
I would imagine so.
Bandy may be on
so wait, they can spell Okwuegbunam correctly, which I can as well.
Dude, how about
but they misspell McLaughlin's name?
How did they do that? How did they misspell McLaughlin's name? Oh my God. Oh, poor kid. Here he is. I'll tell you this. Every time I've mentioned McLaughlin on social media, boy, does he have a lot of fans wherever, I know it's Youngstown State, but it's like his home base of fans is strong. Like he's I can tell he's a real hero of the community, and I think that's pretty cool. And so there will be a lot. I got to search on social media when we're done and see how many people in the McLaughlin, tribe are upset about his name being misspelled.
Why is Beatty getting so much work then? Like, and nothing against Beatty. Beatty's fine, but McLaughlin's a star.
Yeah.
And it comes back to pass blocking for me, but in my film study at Youngstown State, like McLaughlin's okay in pass protection. He's not great.
He's got to get in the way a little bit.
You just got to get in the way. Yeah. So like he's as good as Phil was, maybe better than Phil in that department. He's a better receiver than Philip Lindsay. People get mad when I say that, but like I don't know what they're doing, just messing around. Like, let's bring out Tony Jones and Tyler Beatty. Like, no, Jaleel McLaughlin is your number 3 back. And he's the most explosive because one thing we got with Samaje Perine, who is fine, workman-like, lunch pail-like, he's going to average like 3.9 a carry. Okay, that's all he's done. His explosive plays do not exist. And I love Samaje Perine. Loved him in college. But he doesn't run anything over 15 yards. And he's going to average like less than 4 yards a carry. He's just going to be that plugger between the tackles and catch some passes. That's who he is. And Javonte may not be that much better.
Samaje Perine said this about himself. I'm not that special. We get it.
Okay.
He said that about himself. I'm not that special. I'm a hardworking guy who just gets the job done. And I don't know what his fumbling, if any. Maybe he's really good at hanging on to the ball and dependable like that. He strikes me as that type of guy. But yeah, okay, whatever. I think the Broncos will be able to run the ball. I think the offensive line will be good in that department overall. And I hope, knock on wood, Javonte Williams is back, and he's getting 15 carries, and P. Ryan's getting 9, and they hand the ball off to Jerry Jeudy on a sweep. I don't know. It's something like that during the year.
Yeah. The thing to wrap this up, and Melissa, thank you for the kind words. There's no easy fix. The problems that we saw tonight, the problems that we've seen in camp, they're the same. There's just no easy fix. And It doesn't matter if there's 3 weeks until the regular season. That doesn't matter. These problems will be there against the Raiders. And it's Max Crosby. Newsflash. What's Max Crosby? He's going to have a Khalil Mack type of game like Mack had against Michael Schofield.
He's a good player, man.
Max Crosby is a freak.
Good player. And I get it. They got their own problems, and we'll see what is going on with Devontae Adams. I mean, I don't know.
See what's going on with Josh Jacobs.
But you got to score points. I mean, if it's a bunch of these low-scoring games, Cecil, I don't know. I really, I really swear to God, thought they were going to score 30, 31 points tonight. I really did. I thought they were going to move the ball much easier. DiNucci did what I thought he was going to do. I thought he would lead them to a touchdown drive, if not 2.
If there wasn't a punishment drive, let's rework this a little bit, timeline. So let's say they just did 2 drives with Russ and they get a touchdown or a field goal, whatever. And then Stidham gets from the, late first quarter to halftime, and DiNucci gets that whole half. Do they score 31?
I bet they scored 20 points with DiNucci.
I bet it's more like 25, 24.
Okay.
20, is there a niner in there somewhere, like 28? Like,
I'm
not saying 30, but you'd get more from that DiNucci group.
What you saw out of DiNucci is he's very creative with what he does. He throws from different arm angles. He can see things and is not afraid. He makes things happen. He makes things happen in practice. He made things happen during he does that. He does that very naturally. There's no thinking about it. He's not afraid out there. Stidham, I don't know. I don't know what to say about Stidham. He looks stiff. He looks a lot like Brock Osweiler, actually, with the hair in the face. He was kind of giving me some weird...
I think it's the eye black, too, because he has Brock's eye black.
There's some weird, Brock vibes out there. I don't know, man. There's nothing to say about that. And what are we talking about anyways? You got to make it work with Russ, or what are we doing? The issue is at the end of the year, Cecil, that's why it's very frustrating, because what the truth is, you really need 2 years for this group to be together to really get the best out of this group. But you got to make this crazy decision on Russell Wilson at the end of next year, or his 2025 money, not 2024. His 2025 money of $37 million is guaranteed if he's on the team after May, whatever, of next year. 2025 money is guaranteed.
Oof.
So you gotta know what you're doing.
Then that means he's got to be great.
Well,
if you're talking about 2 years of fully guaranteed money, he's got to be great, and he's not going to be great. Russ will not be great this year. Russ will be, 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns, something like that. He won't be great. He'll be good. Sean Payton will get the most out of him, but it will not be great.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's disappointing news to James Maryland, I guess, but listen, but there'll be moments. It's not like there's not going to be some fun moments, and it is going to be. There's no doubt. You could even tell tonight it's going to be better than last year. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, they only had they have 5 penalties, something like that.
Yeah, beat the Chiefs. That's your Super Bowl. Beat the Chiefs. If they beat the Chiefs once, just please, for the love of God, beat Kansas City.
How are they going to do that, Cecil?
I don't know.
How about beating Justin Fields in Chicago? How about what's going to happen during that Jets game at home? Kansas City. Holy cow. I'm not disagreeing with you. It just seems like Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City. All right. Sure.
If you want to save face, that's how you do it.
All right. Get
Anyway,
ready for Kevin Kistner. Get ready for kicking breakdowns.
yes.
We need you, chicken fingers.
Chicken fingers and kicker breakdowns.
Yeah, we need it. We need it bad.
Is that all for tonight, D?
I mean, what else is there?
I don't know. I'm going to go play PUBG. What are you going to do at midnight? You just going to bed? I'm a night owl anyway. I'm up till 1 or 2 every night.
I think I'm going to go for a bike ride now, Cease. So
I wish I could yell in your ear. Am I motivating you when you're riding your bike? Right? It's like that coach. Come on.
No, I don't know. I'll probably sit there on Twitter and just look at people yell at us about whatever and be angry and upset. And, or here's the fun one. Just hearing people tell us why tonight was no big deal and nothing really mattered and blah, 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 blah. That'll be the fun part, because this happens after every first preseason game. We always amp up to it. We tell you why things matter. We tell you what's important. We tell you what the competitions are. And as soon as it's over, everybody just says, it's a stupid preseason game. It meant nothing. It doesn't count, but it means a lot. There's a lot of things that mean important things tonight. And you better hopefully see there's something to grow on, as the final 3 open practices to the public are next week. That's it. That's
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's it.
Yep, that's it. So, and they're just letting people in. I didn't reserve a ticket. Just come. You'll figure it out.
Just come.
But that's it. That's it. And what's interesting, Cease? So there's not a crowd for the joint practice against the Rams. It's only next week. It's not for the Rams.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, huh?
On purpose.
Why?
I don't know. I don't ask questions.
That's annoying. All right, end with something positive. Give me your favorite something good tonight. Somebody good.
Something good is Jaleel McLaughlin needs to be with the first team in some sort of package. There needs to be a Jaleel McLaughlin package for the first team. Let Javonte and Samaje beat the hell out of you, and then bring in Jaleel McLaughlin, and he can beat you as a receiver. He can play slot receiver because he can run routes. That's the difference. He's not just a wheel route screen pass guy. He can run routes. Jaleel McLaughlin clearly showed in his first preseason action, much like a young, round CJ Anderson did. Because remember, when CJ was an undrafted rookie, he had 1 game against Seattle. Then he hurt his knee, and they kept him on the 53. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
But all it takes is one game.
Take your word for it.
All it takes is one game. And I think we all saw in one game that Jaleel McLaughlin can play. So let the kid play. Get him catching passes from Russ, and watch out. You want to score that 27 points, right? That Sean Payton averages. He's number 1 coach. That average is going to come down this year, baby. Getting Jaleel McLaughlin on the field might help you get closer.
I'll give you another small one. They should never have let him go in the first place. It's good to have Riley Dixon back. He's been a very good punter during training camp. I know he had 1 bad punt. I know. He had a bad shank, but overall he's been good. And don't let that one little shank throw you off. He's going to be fine as a punter for the Broncos. And of course they drafted him, and then they let him go for Marquette King, and you just threw away another draft pick, and then you got him back here, which is, boy, if that's not an Elway move to top all Elway moves in terms of a GM. But I'm glad it's back. And don't be thrown off by that one lousy punt. The guy is good, and that'll be something that we barely even talk about. It'll just be good.
Wash it away. I still remember when Marquette walked by, when he got done yelling at you, and he walked by, and he's like, "I'm not like other punters, man." And I thought in my head, I was like, "The hell does that mean?" Because I was standing next to you when he went at you. And then as he was walking away, he was threatening you. And it's so funny the way the Broncos handled that afterwards, because they had here's this great, and I love Woody, you love Woody, but Woody's writing about Marquette. He's so great. It's whatever. I'm not like other punters, man.
But hey, it wasn't Will Smith that had the first keep your name keep my name out of your mouth.
Right.
Hey man, I had that moment before Chris Rock and Will Smith did years ago with Marquette King.
Yeah.
But that is the story. If people don't know, Elway drafted Riley Dixon out of Syracuse. Of course, I would know that. He's a draft pick. He was a drafted punter.
Yes.
And you just cut him like you cut Brett Kern, who went on to have like a Hall of Fame punting career for the Titans. You just cut a dude. And guess what Riley Dixon can do too? Throw the football. Like, you want to see some fun stuff, go back and look at some Syracuse tape of Riley Dixon being able to throw a football, which gives them, listen, man, we'll take every little advantage that we can get. And you just got rid of him for what? Marquette King, who they paid like a ton of money for, didn't they?
Yeah.
Wasn't it like over $3 million or something for Marquette?
Went to produce one of his rap videos.
Right. All right. We're definitely at the end of the line if we're going.
We're getting goofy now. Everyone out there, appreciate you all for watching. It's post game live here, and well, as always, stay tuned. And would you please come on, stay frosty, baby.